British Olympic Dreams on BBC One in 45 minutes, then live athletics from Crystal Palace at 1:30. First though, kicking off the new football season in style, welcome back, Dan Walker.
A summer without football feels like an awfully long time, doesn't it? Well, spare a thought for Brighton fans. They've had to wait 14 long years for this. A place to call home. Brighton are back, football is back, and so too is Football Focus. Today we come live from the South Coast. Yes, there'll be 22,500 fans making their way in there in a few hours' time in the new Falmer Stadium as Brighton take on Doncaster in their first game in the Championship. And there really is genuine excitement about the place. We've spoken to a fan who's flying in from California. One is coming from Australia. There's open-top buses bringing supporters here this afternoon. But the journey for the club to this point has been anything but straightforward. Seagulls fan and broadcasting legend Des Lynam tells us why it means so much.
In Brighton, they've needed to be patient. Formed in 1901, Brighton and Hove Albion joined the Football League 19 years later. Home was the Goldstone ground, and mostly the old Third Division. There were occasional glimmers of ambition. Brian Clough turned up in the 70s for a petulant little stay. 9 months and he was gone. The club stuck near the bottom of the league. Then a stirring on the South Coast. 1979, up to the top division. OK, there's relegation in 1983, but improbably Brighton had reached the cup final. Gordon Smith's famous chance would have beaten Manchester United.
What an amazing opportunity for Brighton to win the cup.
If only. Instead, it's down the slippery slope. 1995, the owners sell the Goldstone ground for redevelopment. 2 years on, facing financial ruin, the team goes to Hereford on the last day of the season. A 1-1 draw and their league status just saved. Hereford go down instead. The reward for survival? For 2 seasons, ground sharing with Gillingham, 75 miles away. But the fans keep faith. Their day is coming. A consortium is formed, led by Dick Knight. The club comes back. Well, to the Withdean Stadium, an athletics track, once a zoo. Not quite a football ground, not quite a home. And so the quest was on to find one. I mentioned that patience was needed. After 12 long years and 3 inquiries, the resilience of the fans and the club directors pays off. The stadium at Falmer is to be built. Gus Poyet's side bid farewell to Withdean with a stunning promotion to the Championship. New ambitions, and this place, a fabulous new home. Patience can have its reward, you know.
Mr. Lynam will be here today. The weather is changing quite quickly here, unfortunately, on the South Coast. Hopefully we'll avoid the rain. If you want to keep in contact with us on Twitter throughout the season, you can, by the way. The address is on the screen right now. And we're going to be joined by this fella today, and throughout the season, a full bona fide Brighton legend with a glorious left boot as well. It's Mr. Mark Lawrenson. Happy new season.
Thanks, Dan.
It's a nice picture, that, isn't it?
Probably one of the better ones, yeah. I think I've still got my tash there as well, the remnant of, certainly.
Now, these dates will tell us you were here a while ago, but this was before you moved to Liverpool, and you will know, as well as many of the fans here who've been there in those dark days as well, and in the last 15 years, how big a day this is for Brighton.
This is absolutely massive, and I think most people know that they could have gone out of the league that day at Hereford, and years and years and years in terms of trying to get planning permission for the new stadium. If it had gone out of the league, I think that would have been the end of the football club. So this is a glorious day for them as well. We shouldn't deny them that.
And they've sold 16,000 season tickets as well, which is great news. We're off to find our other guest, who's inside the stadium somewhere. But it's not all about Brighton today. We're going to be covering all 4 divisions for you. Here is what's coming up. We catch up with Ashley Cole on his trip to the Big Apple.
Like, look at this guy, he was following us yesterday. He's papping us. There's good things and bad things, but the good definitely overweigh the bad.
There's the community football office. Paul working late as usual.
Good start, stand still, stand still. One of you two has to be here and one of you has to be there.
We follow a rather damp AFC Wimbledon as they prepare for their league debut and catch up with the Brass Boys of Sheffield.
Everybody focuses on those derby games, as will I, but you know, if somebody could say to me now, well, you'll get beat by United twice this season, but you'll be promoted, then I'd take that.
And look who's moved to London.
I'm honoured to be able to come here and to, you know, to be named captain and to be able to walk out now and hopefully now prove people wrong.
So all that to look forward to, but we've come in the belly of the stadium because I wanted to show you the newest changing room in the Football League. And look, the Brighton boys are all in nice and early. Afternoon, everybody. I'm saying they're getting into it, all reading their programmes. Very nice of you. I wanted to show you this because every footballer's worst nightmare. This is the ice bath, brand new, installed over the summer. 10.5 degrees, I've been reliably informed. So 6 minutes for every single player in there after a game to cool off. But one man who doesn't have to do that anymore is over here. Mr. Robbie Savage. Hello, sir. How are you? Now, really, this shouldn't be your domain anymore because you're one of us now. You're not a footballer anymore. You've retired. How's it been this summer?
Yeah, it's been hard, but you know, I'm looking forward to my new challenge, being a pundit, good or bad, but I'm excited about it.
And Brighton fans might remember that you had 6 sparkling performances for Brighton a few years ago.
I remember Hartlepool away on a Tuesday night and Mickey Adams dragged me off at half-time and I was fuming and threw my wristbands down, but I had a month here and I thoroughly enjoyed it then. It's a fantastic football club and I'm so happy that they've got a fantastic stadium.
I should just check with the boys here. Anybody remember Robbie's 6 appearances, anyone?
The boys said they had a stinker, though.
OK, so apparently he had a stinker in every game. Thank you very much. Well, have a good game today, gents. We should tell you, these boys obviously playing in the Championship division, and the summer has really been the silly season, and anybody who is watching football this season, make sure you keep your eye on this division because it will be certainly one to watch.
When last we were with you, things at West Ham were, pretty quiet. Well, apart from their wrangling over the Olympic Stadium, relegation, sacking their manager, and about a fisticuffs at their end-of-season awards ceremony that resulted in the police being called and supporters legging it out of here, down here, and down here. Since then, there still hasn't been an awful lot to report. But if you thought Upheaval was the sole preserve of the Hammers, you'd be wrong. Cardiff lost all their players before wisely buying some others. Birmingham's owner's been bailed on money laundering charges, which he denies, and at the same time, he's appointed his 18-year-old son as a club director. Leeds banned a great-grandmother for running on the pitch at the end of last season. As one former England manager has been spending every penny he can lay his hands on at Leicester, another's taken over at Nottingham Forest, and finally Doncaster sacked, then reinstated their mascot Donny Dog after she posed in her underwear for a photo shoot. Calm yourselves down, we're not showing you that.
Plenty more from Mark Clement later. He'll be looking at Leagues 1 and 2 for us. Let's make our way out from the tunnel then, have a first look at the pitch here at the new stadium, and we're going to be joined not only by our 2 boys here we've already seen, but also by Tony Bloom, the Brighton chairman. Tony, I'll get a hand out to give you a nice handshake. This place looks fantastic, and there is a strange old atmosphere because normally you get the sort of first day of the season, everyone's excited. It's almost like a Jane Fonda workout video out there. There's whooping and hollering going on.
Yeah, it's a hugely emotional time for all of our fans. They've been waiting this moment for so long. It's been over 14 years since the last game at the Goldstone ground against Doncaster, funnily enough, in April '97. And that was a massive game for us, which we needed a win to give ourselves a chance of staying in the Football League, which goes to show how far we've gone in that time.
Quite a few people mentioning the word consolidation. I wonder what your plan was, because you could do a Norwich, but then there's also the Peterborough and the Scunthorpes who've been up, down, up, down, up, down. So how are you looking at this season? Would you take mid-table now?
Well, first of all, let's get a few games under our belt, play the football we can and get some wins and go on from there. I mean, it's very difficult to say at this stage, but I would say there's a lot of teams in the Championship who have chances of being promoted. There's lots of teams, but obviously teams like West Ham and Leicester, they've got the squad of players who really should be aiming to finish top 2, and if they're not top 2, I think their fans wouldn't be too happy.
Arguably the most important thing, I'm sure the boys will agree with this, is keeping hold of Gus Poyet, Robbie, because he's crucial to what Brighton have done and hopefully what they will do in the future.
I think the brand of football they play as well, they like to get the ball down and pass it. The service here is fantastic, Laura, isn't it? It's like a carpet, and the atmosphere there. 16,000 season tickets for what an achievement. Fantastic.
In fact, in relation to Gus Poyet, the chairman just needs to give him a few more quid, he said, and then he'd be absolutely sorted.
Every manager wants a few more quid.
Any length of contract you possibly want him to sign.
Just broadening it out to the Championship a bit more generally, I wanted to mention, you talked about Leicester, but there's two former England managers in the Championship, Steve McLaren and Sven. So the East Midlands derby is going to be juicy this season.
Well, I mean, Sven basically bought a team already, I think, and Steve McLaren's having a problem. I think he's had 9 leave and he's only bought 3 at the moment. But I mean, Sven and Leicester are probably the team alongside Sam Allardyce. I think everybody knows with Sam Allardyce, they will be very, very close indeed. Even if he loses the likes of Parker and Cole and one or two of the other ones.
I think Leicester, Leicester and West Ham are favourites. But Sven will know and Sam will know if they don't get them teams up, they could be gone at the end of the season, no question.
So have a great day today. Enjoy the season well. Thanks for joining us. You two very happily mentioned West Ham and Leicester. They're the bookies' favourites. Stay there for the minute. You don't have to disappear in the background like a Hollywood film.
He's had enough of you, that's what it is.
He's fed up of TV. Kevin Nolan liked the idea of moving to Upton Park so much that he actually rejoined with Sam Allardyce. And could those two together make a return for the Happy Hammers? That is genuinely hideous. We'll have West Ham's opening game against Cardiff live tomorrow. BBC One 12:45. Former Cardiff boss Dave Jones will be in the studio and Gabby Logan will be holding fort for that one. So it's a brave decision by Kevin Nolan, but Robbie, you've done the same thing. You dropped from the Premier League down into the Championship. Good decision?
For me, it was a terrible decision. I think you should play in the Premier League for as long as you can when you're able to. Kevin Nolan, 12 goals from midfield from Newcastle. I think he'll regret dropping down hugely if West Ham don't go up. It's a tough league to get out of. You don't automatically get promotion. For me, a bad decision.
Laura, it is a little bit of sort of Bolton of the South with the team, the players that he's brought in, Nolan, Matt Taylor, Abdoulaye Faye as well. There is always that style question at West Ham, and Sam Allardyce has got to make sure that he appeases the fans, do you think?
No, I don't. I think as long as obviously they win the games, I think it's more important. Listen, they've been relegated, so you want to play really nice football and get relegated? I don't think so. And I think the reason you take the players that you know is exactly that reason, because you know what they're capable of. I think with Kevin Nolan as well, I think obviously Sam sold it to him and said, look, one season here and you're going to be a hero playing for West Ham if you get promoted.
Are you both surprised? David Gold said that there's been no bids for Scott Parker.
Very surprised. It's what Arsenal need. A holding midfielder, a bit of an Englishness in the team. I think it's a huge surprise.
I think they're just waiting until they get closer to August the 31st and the price comes down. Well, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And, that's the thing with West Ham is the glorious uncertainty about some of the players that might actually go when you're already 2 weeks into the season.
You two were having a quick chat earlier about your Championship dark horse. You both agree, so people at home will like to know, you think...
Ipswich. Yeah. Good manager. I mean, he dropped him, so he's a great manager. But Paul Jules is a very, very good manager, and they made some good signings, and they already had some good players there anyway.
OK, well, the Championship actually got underway last night, and two teams who have a taste of Premier League in the last few years or so. Hull against Blackpool, and it was a tasty one. We thought we'd show you a little proof that we are right in the heart of the South Downs here for Brighton's new stadium. And we've already heard from the chairman, and now we've been joined by one of the biggest names in football. I'll give you a full introduction, ready? This is Anthony, Philip, David, Terry, Frank, Donald, Stanley, Jerry, Gordon, Stephen, James Oatway, thankfully better known as Charlie, assistant coach of Brighton. And for those of you who know your history, you'll know that you're named after the entire 1973 QPR squad.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I still don't talk to my dad because of that, but no. Yeah, it's one of them things that I've got to carry around, and it's life, innit, I suppose.
And you work alongside Gus Poyet here, and we've talked a lot about the new stadium, obviously, because it's fantastic. But in terms of the football side, how are you prepared for the new season?
I mean, we know that at 3 o'clock, I think. It's one of them ones that we've done everything we can all week for the weekend, and now it's just about when the boys go over that white line, it's down to them, really.
We spoke just a moment ago about Craig McCall-Smith, who's been perhaps your key signing. I wanted to bring you two guys in as well, because Charlie was saying not only did he score goals, got a hatful last season, but he works so hard for the team and wins the ball back, which for Brighton is key because they love to play with it, Lawrence.
Listen, if your centre forward and maybe even your best player is prepared to do that, then nobody else has a reason not to do it, and that's extremely important. And one or two people were a little bit surprised that he came here and he could have gone to other teams, but for Brighton it's a major signing.
With a chance to go to Leicester, so to choose Brighton over Leicester with the amount of money Leicester is spending, I think it's a huge pull for Brighton Football Club and Gus Poyet.
And very quickly, Charlie, we understand that Mr. Poyet got the pitch as big as he possibly could. Is that an indication of how you want to play this season?
Yeah, I mean, if he had his way, I think he would have put the lines back there. But, no, it is. I mean, we've got the best intentions of the way we want to play football and the stature of this football club and what we want to achieve and have our own identity. And he's adamant about that, and that shows with the way that we try to play. And the gentlemen know that obviously that's not always going to be the case. Sometimes you have bad days, but the principles are there. That's how we're going to start the season and hopefully continue to run our football club like that.
Top man, enjoy it. I haven't got time to talk about your full story, but if you do want to read a fantastic footballing autobiography, this man couldn't read or write 5 years ago, and he's now written a book called Tackling Life, which is well worth a read, and also all the proceeds go to charity as well. Now, Coventry-Leicester has just kicked off in the Championship. Commentary on that one on 5 Live right now. In about 10 minutes' time as well, AFC Wimbledon start their life in the Football League, and we thought we'd take a look at what a task they have ahead of them. And you can find out how they get on. Final score this afternoon, the red button from 2:30, BBC One from 4:30. Lady Logan will be on that one for you too. And don't forget, the Football League show returns as well tonight with Manish, BBC One at 11:55. We've moved into the away end, and I just wanted to show you how much Brighton have gone out of their way to try and make away fans feel at home. You can see there's train times up there to make sure they can stay in the stadium as long as they can. There's local beer they've had imported in from wherever the team has travelled from. Everyone here is getting ready for the game. Hello, nice yellow bins. They're also going to change the lighting to the colours of the away side. And there is one more thing I would like to show you, which is in the main stand up there. So hopefully we can show you a picture of the large seagull on the top tier. Now, that is not how it was originally planned, because you can see here there were originally some deposits below the seagull. Someone had a very good sense of humour, but they decided to get rid of those. Probably a wise decision. But the plan is that, in the future, not too distant future, there will be Premier League fans watching their team here at this great new stadium take on Brighton. And the Premier League, as we mentioned, returns next week. Quite a few new names and faces to get used to, including the Chelsea boss, Andres Villas-Boas. Now, Ashley Cole actually went to New York this summer before he met his new leader. And we went to the Big Apple with him. Leon Mann. Interesting that he doesn't remember much about Villas-Boas's first spell at Chelsea, but the boys are here behind the goal in the away end. Chelsea got a new boss. We've had quite a bit of activity over the summer. I was just wondering, Robbie, first of all, to you, who you think is going to be the key signing? Who's the big signing this summer?
I think Sergio Aguero for Manchester City. I think if they lose Tevez, I think Aguero can fill his boots adequately, and I think he offers a bit more. I think he's got more pace, and I think he'll work harder for the team.
So better than Tevez. That's
I think so.
Quite a label to chuck on him. And Laura, for you?
I'm looking at someone like Shea Given. I'm surprised that somebody like Arsenal haven't taken him so that Szczesny can just sort of learn from him. What, £3.5–4 million for such an outstanding goalkeeper? Joey Barton's another one, maybe.
Yeah.
Come to mind, and everyone's looking at the Liverpool players that they've signed.
You think Barton to Arsenal, don't you?
I think Joey Barton, possibly Arsenal. As I said, they need that Englishness in the middle of the park.
I'd want to be in that meeting, Arsene Wenger and Joey Barton.
Right.
I'd pay to get in that.
The rumours in the Italian press today, by the way, that Wesley Sneijder was going to go to Manchester City for £31 million, which Manchester City have denied, but that could make the Community Shield tomorrow a little bit juicier, if that is the case. We're going to talk about League One.
Did you get that on there?
What?
Did you get that news on there?
The clipboard has gone. We've gone all, super Wi-Fi and all that sort of thing.
Marvellous.
I'll tell you how to use this one later.
Thanks.
Turn it on.
Be quiet. Now, if I was a large, scary man, pay attention, I would have love tattooed on these knuckles and hate tattooed on these knuckles. Clem explains.
Proof, if ever it were needed, that money breeds money came in the unlikely surroundings of Meadow Lane this summer, where manager of the richest club in the world, Neil Warnock, won a grand on Notts County's club lottery. Here he is when he heard the news. Not that the locals begrudge him, they love Warnock round here for taking the club into the top flight 20 years ago. No, really, they do. And while we speak of love, one of England's favourite Germans, Uwe Rosler, has been welcomed with open arms as the new boss of Brentford. Contrast this with the reception Danny Wilson got when the former Wednesdayite took charge of Sheffield United. 100 fairly large men shouting Wilson out before he was even in. It's fair to say that feelings are rather raw in the Steel City at the moment. The last time both of its clubs were playing at this level was over 30 years ago, and by the looks of things, the mood wasn't much better then. Finally, from a hot reception to a warm goodbye, no summer would be complete without a bit of business between Tranmere Rovers and Bayern Munich. This year's deal will see Wirral Wunderkind Dale Jennings playing for the German Giants next season, which gives us a pretty good excuse to dig out his finest moment at Prenton Park.
Now, Now, Huddersfield are the favourites to go up from that division. They missed out just about last year. But both Sheffield clubs also heavily fancied, even though the Sheffield Steel has lost a little bit of its shine in recent times. It's 31 years since these two faced each other at this level in the football pyramid. But both teams are dreaming of a much brighter future. It doesn't seem like that long ago, does it, that both Sheffield teams were in the top division, but the Premier League does return next week. No Sheffield sides in there, but for that, we've got a brand new Salford studio and we've brought in the big guns.
The first football game I actually went to was a 0-0 game, and I couldn't understand why everybody was so happy. Because, you know, in America, somebody's got to win.
It's 12:15. It's a Saturday. It's a football focus with Don Walker.
Oh, Patrick Vieira will be joining us. Sorry, I was just reading that. Patrick Vieira will be joining us in the studio as well. And we'll also be starting our online football forum. So something on the website and the red button for you every single day of the week. Now, we started by talking to Des Lynam. We're going to bring in another Brighton fan now because Norman Cook, a.k.a. Fatboy Slim, Brighton through and through, is here as well. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm very excited and very happy.
You've been here through all the dark days.
Yes.
You've been smiling for most of the time we've seen you this morning because this must be quite incredible for you. Having been at the Goldstone Ground, lived through the Withdean and now come here.
We've lived through a difficult 14 years and now we have our field of dreams. If you build it, they will come.
And they are coming.
Yeah. No, I mean, we dared to dream that we could stay afloat with all our financial problems for being homeless.
Because you put money into the club as well, didn't you?
Yeah, there was a time, Dick Knight sort of said, will you kind of dig deep for us? And he sort of said, you know, if you don't put money in, we'll sell Bobby Zamora. And I said, that sounds like blackmail. And he said, call it what you want, dear boy. So no, I've sort of been involved, and we were shirt sponsors. Skimp were shirt sponsors for 9 years. So I feel like I'm part of the club.
And I was wondering this. I've always wanted to ask you this. Your song "Praise You," right? We've come a long, long way together through the hard times and the good. Did you have Brighton in mind when you wrote that?
Little did I know, any more than when I was at college, just over there, and looking out through the windows, that they would build a stadium here. No, had no idea.
And you got two Brighton legends alongside you today as well.
Once I was a legend, mate.
Brief legend. It is a great day for the club, isn't it, Laura? We've mentioned it a few times, but Doncaster playing here today, but the story really has been the new home for Brighton.
Well, I mean, Doncaster have been through this because they've got a new stadium. I think the difference being, I think the council own there. As the thing with Brighton, as Norman said, they own absolutely everything. I mean, they were sponsored by Skint, now should be sponsored by Loaded, shouldn't they? Loads of money in the chairman.
Well, listen, we're going to enjoy the game today. Have a great one. Enjoy the season as well. A significant day for other sports as well, not just football. The Challenge Cup has reached the semi-final stage. We've got Wigan against St Helens today, BBC 2 at 4:15, and Leeds meet Castleford tomorrow, that's BBC 2 at 3. Also, some World Cup warm-up games in rugby union, and also some live athletics on the BBC as well. We should say a very big thank you to everybody at Brighton. Enjoy your weekend, whoever you support. Radio 5 Live, Mark Chapman is up there. We'll guide you through there, based here throughout the afternoon. Commentary on Coventry against Leicester at the moment. And while Brighton celebrate a new chapter, we should mention Coventry as well because they are paying tribute to the past. A new statue celebrating Jimmy Hill. He was one of those managers, broadcaster, innovator, administrator. He did everything and he still loves the game. We'll see you next week.
It isn't our intention to go on strike because there's a phrase, softly, softly, catchy monkey, which is perhaps our maxim.
I think we've achieved more or less the things that are going to benefit football.
Jimmy Hill, the bearded Coventry manager, brash, enthusiastic, full of ideas, the man with a modern approach.
I would like to be a dictator and manage all 92 league clubs.
That shows you where you have to have brains, doesn't it?
3 points for a win, just think of that.
You won't get it better than that.
I didn't know you had a beard.
No.
Funny that. Doesn't show on
black and white TV.
No.